guys, Simone here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Vlogmas Day 15. So I have for you today a book haul, and I haven't done a book haul in probably about 6+ months, I think. The last book hauls I've had done were library book hauls, and I haven't done any since then. I thought today I would get you a bit more up to date on some of the books that I have purchased over the last few months and the ones I'm really excited for. I have 25 books here, so let's get started. So the majority of books that I buy I get from the charity shop, and most of these books are actually from there. So the first one I have that I got from the charity shop is Full Dark No Stars by Stephen King, which is actually a book by him that I'd never heard of before, but I saw it in my local charity shop and I thought I'd pick it up. So as far as I know, this is a book of short stories. I think there's 4 in here, and the first one in here is 1922, which I think I've watched on Netflix, the movie of. I don't really know anything about any of the other stories, but I am really looking forward to reading this because like I said, it's a Stephen King book. I love Stephen King and it's a book that I haven't yet heard of or read, so I'm very much looking forward to that. The next one I have actually my dad gave to me, and that is The Girl Who Takes an Eye for an Eye by David Lagercrantz, and he is carrying on Stieg Larsson's Millennium series. I read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and The Girl Who Played with Fire, the first 2 books in the Millennium trilogy by Stieg Larsson. I have one more of those to read, and then I think there's one more before this, Something to Do with a Spiderweb, I think, and then this one. I'm really looking forward to continuing on. I love the series in general, and it'll be really interesting to see how David Lagercrantz continues that. Then I have a book that I'd heard a few people talk about on BookTube, but I've never actually I didn't know too much about it, basically, and it is this one, A Brief History of 7 Killings by Marlon James, and it was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize 2015. I feel like it actually won. Did it win Man Booker Prize? I don't know. I don't know if this just came out. This is a really big book though. This is nearly 700 pages, and as far as I know, it's about it's a true story set in Jamaica in 1976, and it's about 7 gunmen who tried to basically kill Bob Marley in his home, and the gunmen were never caught, and I think it's about that. Obviously Bob Marley survived at that point, and it's kind of about what happened after that. I don't know anything else about it. I'm really excited to read it though. Next, I will link below the unboxing I did. I think it was my chocolate in a book unboxing, and I got a John le Carré book, which I think was like, you don't have to read them in order, but it was about number 8 or something in the series. Now, if you know me, you'll know I'm one of those people who has to read things in the order, even if they say you don't have to. So I bought the first one, which is John le Carré's Call for the Dead. This is kind of about, I think it's to do with, is it FBI? Oh no, British Secret Service. And it follows Agent George Smiley. Yeah, I don't know anything else really about this. This is a really small book though. I think it's not even 150 pages, so I feel like I can rush through that. And this is quite one that I want to read in order to be able to get to the ones that are next in the series. Next up, I heard Cece from Problems of a Book Nerd talking about this book and how she really liked it, and I've heard a few other people talk about it and they seemed very excited by it, so I wanted to read it myself. And it is The Colour Purple by Alice Walker, and I think it follows a lady named Celie? I'm not sure how you say that, who is a young black girl born in the deep American South, into poverty and segregation. It says, raped repeatedly by the man she calls father, she has 2 children taken away from her, is separated from her beloved sister Nettie, and is trapped into an ugly marriage. But then she meets the glamorous Shug Avery, singer and magic maker, a woman who has taken charge of her own destiny. Gradually, Celie discovers the power and joy of her own spirit, freeing her from her past and reuniting her with those she loves. And I'm really looking forward to this. I need to read more diversely, I've said this before, and this hopefully is one step to doing that. Next up is a book I've definitely seen on BookTube before, but I can't remember where I saw it, and it is Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil by John Berendt, and I don't actually know anything about this. I know it's a non-fiction story, and it's about something that obviously happened, but I haven't a clue. But I saw this in the charity shop and was like, I've heard loads of people talk about this and I feel like I definitely need to pick it up and give it a go myself. Then I'm getting all the recommendations from different people. Basically, if I see someone talk about it on BookTube that I trust and I see it in my local charity shop, I will 100% pick it up. And this one, actually, the recommendation came from Becky from Beck's Books, and that is Ghosts of the Tsunami by Richard Lloyd Parry, which takes place in 2011, and it's set It's a true story again, it's a non-fiction book, and it's set around the tsunami that happened in Japan in 2011, and it talks about that. Again, I don't know too much else apart from that specific, like what it's about there, but I think it's to do with a mystery, to do with what happened and why children weren't evacuated, I think, or something like that. I'm not really sure. I really want to read this though, and like I said, Becky really raved about this one, so hopefully I'll get to it soon. Next up, another recommendation. I've seen a lot of people talk about this. Lauren from Lauren and the Books was the kind of the main one that really got me excited to read this one, and again, I saw it in my local charity shop and it sold me. And that is The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. I have no idea what this is about, but this is the most beautiful cover that I've ever seen, and yeah, I can't wait to read this. It says, let me have a look. London, 1893. When Cora Seaborn's husband died, she steps into her new life as a widow with as much relief as sadness. Retreating to the countryside with her son, she encounters rumours of the Essex Serpent, a creature of folklore said to have returned to roam the marshes. Cora is enthralled, believing it may be an undiscovered species. Setting out on its trail, she collides with local minister William Ransom, who thinks the cure for hysteria lies in faith, while Cora is convinced that science offers the answers. Despite disagreeing on everything, he and Cora find themselves drawn together, changing each other's lives in unexpected ways. It actually sounds really, really good, and I'm very much excited. I don't read often similar things to Lauren, although I love to watch her videos and I really like to hear what she says. There are quite a few times where I've read books that she maybe has liked, and it's not my type of thing, so hopefully this one will be the difference to that. Next up, I have a book that I read when I was a child, and I saw it and I couldn't resist picking it up, and that is The Growing Pains of Adrian Mole by Sue Townsend. If you don't know, this I think is the sequel to The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 3/4, which is one of my favourite books as a kid, and I really just want to go back and read this because I remember loving it so much. Then you may all know that I have read Angels and Demons this year, and I want to continue on with Dan Brown's other books in that sort of series, but I picked up another book by him that wasn't part of those series, and that is Deception Point by Dan Brown. This has something to do with NASA and the President of the United States, and I don't know anything else about it other than that, but I always love Dan Brown's books, and I'm really looking forward to reading this one because it's another one of his that I haven't yet read. Next up, I have a thriller, and that is 13 Minutes by Sarah Pinborough, and this follows a girl who remembers I think she died for 13 minutes in icy water, but she knows that it wasn't an accident, but she doesn't understand what happened, and this is kind of her trying to figure it out. I have not read Sarah Pinborough's other book. What do I have up there? Behind Her Eyes. I haven't read that one yet, but I do own it, and I saw this one and thought I need to pick it up. Then I have a book that I actually have out from the library at the moment, and I am really, really looking forward to reading this one. This one is The Swimming Pool by Louise Candlish. Now you might know, I think it was July, my favourite book of July was The Disappearance of Emily Marr by Louise Candlish. It was one of my favourite books of the year, and I saw this in the library and I thought, do you know what? I didn't even think about reading more from her, and I'm actually really looking forward to doing this. I have no idea what this is about, but it's Louise Candlish, and I feel like her writing was what really made me love the first one I read, so hopefully I will continue and love this one as well. Next up, I have a really battered copy of another Stephen King book, and I kind of don't even mind. This one is Thinner, with Stephen King writing as Richard Bachman. Now I've seen the adaptation, like the movie adaptation of Thinner. It's about a man who accidentally runs over a gypsy woman and kills her by accident, and then another gypsy man touches him and just says the word thinner, and then from then on he's a very overweight man and he just starts to lose weight like nobody's business, and to the point where it gets dangerous. And I think it's about that, and I remember reading, I saw the film and I actually didn't mind it, I thought it was quite good, and so I really want to read this, especially because I've heard people say that when Stephen King writes as Richard Bachman you can really tell the difference, so I'm really looking forward to seeing if I can tell the difference and what I think about it. Next up, I actually picked up 2 books by this author, but I can't find the other one that I have, and I have here The Secret Keeper by Kate Morton. I read The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton I think earlier this year, and I loved it, and so every time I see one in the charity shop now I pick it up because I am very excited. This one, I think I've also picked up The Lake House more recently, but basically Kate Morton is kind of the queen of writing in 2 separate timelines. Normally you have a timeline in the past, a timeline in the present, and the present timeline tends to be somebody trying to figure out what happened in the past. It's really, really interesting, and again I don't know anything about specifically what this one's about, I just know that I love Kate Morton and really want to read more from her. Next up I have a giant book that I really am quite nervous to read. I think it's, how big is this book? It's nearly, like it's just under 900 pages long, and it's mad. It is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. Now I've heard loads of people talking about this book and I am intimidated, I won't lie. This just says, age 13, Theo Decker, son of a devoted mother and an absent father, miraculously survives a catastrophe that otherwise tears his life apart. Alone and rudderless in New York, he is taken in by the family of a wealthy friend. Theo is tormented by longing for his mother, and down the years he clings to the thing that most reminds him of her, a small captivating painting that ultimately draws him into the criminal underworld. And if that doesn't sound good, I don't know what does. I'm really excited for this. Like I said, it is intimidating because it's massive, but I'm still kind of excited for it. Next up is a book that I think is really beautiful, and I've not read anything by this author just yet, and that is The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. This follows a young English nurse who goes to Ireland because there is a girl there who supposedly has not eaten anything in months, but she's still thriving, she's very healthy, she's fine. And the nurse goes there to kind of see if she can dispel this kind of hoax or see what is going on and what the situation is. I generally really like reading books about Ireland or set in Ireland, so I feel like this will be quite good. I love this cover. I know I have Room by Emma Donoghue, which actually, because I'm pre-filming this, I may have read that book by the time this goes up, but I really want to read The Wonder anyway because it sounds really, really good. Next up I have quite a controversial book, and I've not heard great things about this. I did not enjoy very much The Martian by Andy Weir. I thought it was a bit too sciencey for me. However, I have picked up his next book, which was Artemis by Andy Weir, although I have heard that it is not great. I think it follows a city on the moon, population 2,000, mostly tourists, some criminals, and I don't really know too much else about it. I know that people have said it's not the best representation. I think the main character, Jazz Bashara, is a criminal, but I think she's also a Muslim woman, and I think people have said that it's not the best representation. Again, I don't know, I haven't read this yet. I am looking forward to it though because I don't know, I like things in space. I just didn't really enjoy The Martian that much. Next up is a book that my mum bought me, and she was really upset because I told her I'd already read it, but I'm really glad I own it now because I can read it again, and I'm really excited because I did love it. And that is Carrie by Stephen King. I actually got this out from the library when I read it myself, so I'm actually quite happy to have it, and yeah, she was a bit disappointed, but still very excited. This follows, most people know, this was actually the first book that Stephen King ever published, and that obviously it's about a woman named Carrie, or a young girl, who is kind of bullied at school, and then she gets invited to prom and something happens there and basically all hell breaks loose. And yeah, amazing. I really like this. If you haven't read any Stephen King books, I think you should definitely pick this one up for definite because it's quite short. It's, what is it, 250 pages long. And it's amazing. I really, really enjoy this one. Then I have a sequel to a book that I read, I think earlier this year or maybe last year, and really loved, and that is Hunger by Michael Grant. This is the second book, Gone by Michael Grant, that I, like I said, read before. Really, really loved. It's a dystopian book about all of the adults in the world disappearing and the children essentially having to figure out what's going on. And like I said, this is the second one. This one has really cool orange pages, which I kind of love. And I think this is a 6-part series, maybe 5, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to having the next one in the series to read. Up next is one that I've heard a few people talk about. I don't know if I've heard good or bad things, I can't really remember, and this one is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, which basically says, it says here, Jack, handsome, dedicated lawyer, loving husband, and Grace, elegant, consummate housewife, prisoner. Everyone knows a couple like Jack and Grace. He has looks and wealth, she has charm and elegance. You might not want to like them, but you do. You'd like to get to know Grace better. But it's difficult, because you realise they are never apart. Some might call this true love. Others might ask why Grace never answers the phone, or can't meet for lunch without Jack, and why there are bars on one of the bedroom windows. Sometimes the perfect marriage is the perfect lie. And that sounds terrifying, but kind of great at the same time. And yeah, again, I really want to read this one. I love a thriller, and this is meant to be a really good psychological thriller. Next up, I'm quite good when I go to the library. If I see an author that I've read and loved, I will pick up their book. I read The Red House by Mark Haddon in October and really enjoyed it. So I picked up The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I don't know too much about this. I think it's about a little boy who's got autism. Oh no, sorry, he has Asperger's syndrome, a 15-year-old boy, and it's kind of like a murder mystery when he finds out the neighbour's dog has been murdered. I don't like this picture on the front of a dog with a what's that called? fork. I don't know, in him. That's not a nice picture, but yeah, I'm interested to read this. Like I said, I really liked Mark Haddon's other book. It was a little bit weird, so I feel like this probably will be too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. Then I watched a film with my mum, and I hadn't actually read the book of it, and I thought I'm going to pick it up seeing as I saw it. And that was Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I shamedly have not read many Agatha Christie books. In fact, I think I've only read one, and it was a short story collection. And I really need to read more. I love Hercule Poirot with everything in me, and I'm really excited to get to some of his stories. To be honest with you, I didn't love the ending of this, and I imagine it's the ending in the actual book as well, seeing as, you know, it's an adaptation. But I still think I'm going to enjoy the book more than I enjoyed the film. Next up, I have another non-fiction book which I picked up relatively recently, in fact, and that is Hillbilly Elegy, a memoir of a family and culture in crisis by J.D. Vance. And again, I'm going to really quickly read the back because I don't know too much about this. It says, in this internationally best-selling memoir and passionate analysis of a culture in crisis, hillbilly-born Yale law graduate J.D. Vance takes a probing look at America's white working class through his own experiences growing up. The book tells a true story of what social, regional and class decline feels like when you were born with it hanging around your neck. As his family's saga plays out, the book shows how JD's grandparents, aunt, sister and most of all his mother struggled profoundly, never fully escaping the legacy of abuse, alcoholism, poverty and trauma. Writing with piercing honesty, Vance shows how he himself still carries around the demons of his chaotic family history. Hillbilly Elegy is an urgent and troubling meditation on the loss of the American dream for a large segment of the population. It is unmissable reading in these times of political upheaval. And it's true, there is a lot of political upheaval right now. And on the front it says a great insight into Trump and Brexit, so I feel like this is very, very current and I'm really looking forward to reading this. Then we have two more and they're both thrillers and I'm very excited for both of them. The first one I have is Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. I really liked the book The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I just didn't love the fact that there was such a unreliable narrator, so I'm hoping this isn't quite the same. I think this has got something to do with witches, and they find a girl dead in a pool of water, and the sister of the girl that's now dead knows that she would never have done it. So, and like she would never have committed suicide, so they think it must be a murder. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know anything else about it, and I'm looking forward to picking up more Paula Hawkins. And the last one is like the thriller that everyone is talking about right now, and I found it in the charity shop for like £1, and I was very excited about it. And that is The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn. I actually don't know anything about this. I just know that everyone is talking about it and saying how amazing it is and that you need to read it. And it's a thriller, which I love, so I'm excited. So there you have it, guys. I hope that you liked the books that I've got more recently, kind of in the last 6 months. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Let me know what books you've got recently, and come back tomorrow at 5 o'clock to see my next Vlogmas video. And I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas.